Hey guys, welcome back to the Struggleville YouTube channel. eBay sent out some emails a couple days ago now, maybe even a week ago, about the new seller update that will be coming up, the spring update for 2014. And every time they do one of these, it seems to be just another way to screw sellers over, really. There's a couple things in here, but the main thing is for the top-rated seller requirements and even just the status of your account, whether you're above standard or below standard. They're introducing this thing they're calling the defect rate. And so I just wanted to kind of go over some of the points they list about this, just kind of read it with you guys and give you my opinion on it, and whatever you guys think, leave comments below. And this is just my initial reactions. I haven't really had time to think about it and really develop thought out, ideas about it, but just, knee-jerk reaction to the different things I'm reading here. So yeah, so leave comments below if you guys have a different opinion, or maybe I'm reading these things wrong. But the defect rate on the previous page that I'm not showing you right now, they talked about how instead of having all these different metrics to reach the top-rated seller status, that it is all being combined into just one defect rate, right? But all these things, all these bullet points here, are all they all make up the defect rate. So it's not like they're taking all the things still and just giving the list of things a title, calling it the defect rate, but then trying to say that, well, we're only looking at one metric now. Yeah, but there's like 10 things that go into it, so it's really, that part doesn't change. But so it says, starting with the August 20th monthly seller evaluation, a new measure, the transaction defect rate, will replace the current 4 individual detailed seller rating requirements in evaluating seller performance. So it says they're not using the DSRs anymore, they're using the defect rate, but then the first 2 bullet points are both DSRs. And a couple of the changes, or one change here, is for the item as described, they added a 3. It used to be just a 1 or 2 would count as a low rating. Remember, it's a 5-star, 5-point, whatever scale, so adding that 3 in there could give you, obviously, another chance of getting a low DSR. The other one, the 1 instead of a 1 or a 2 for the shipping time, which for most people, the shipping time one, it's one of those you can get an automatic 5 for, so as long as you're shipping things quickly, that shouldn't affect you. But whether it's a 1 or a 2 probably doesn't matter much. Any buyer who's pissed off about the shipping time was probably going to leave you a 1, not a 2 anyways, so it doesn't matter. A neutral or negative feedback counts towards your defective rate or defect rate. A return initiated for a reason that indicates the item was not as described. And I really hate that one, because every return is initiated because they say the item is not as described, because buyers know that is the way that they can get their money back, is if they file a not as described claim. So I mean, I've sold shirts before and the shirt doesn't fit because the person didn't read the measurements, but yet they're going to claim that's a not as described. So that's garbage. Basically, any return is going to count against you now. The eBay money back guarantee, previously known as the eBay buyer protection or PayPal purchase protection case, was opened, not received, or not as described. Here it says opened, but somewhere down farther, maybe it was on another page, it specifically says that if it was closed, here, cases found in your favor don't count. Any case that escalates to eBay or PayPal for review and is found in your favor or found to be no fault of the buyer or seller won't count against your performance rating. It won't be counted as a defect, and it won't count towards your percentage of cases closed without seller resolution. I was glad to read that little paragraph, because when I read this first bullet point up here, and it just says any case opened, and I'm thinking, holy crap, I get cases opened all the time for like item not received. And like I told you guys, the one, it was in the guy's mailbox and he just didn't see it. And on Amazon, I just had a person say he hasn't received his item, and I sent him back the standard message of, check the front door, back door, between your screen door, main door, check with neighbors, call your post office, blah, blah, blah. Half hour later, he just messaged me back and said he found it. But if that was on eBay and he had opened up a case, this initial bullet point makes it think that that would count as a defect. But apparently the lower paragraph is different. The seller canceled transactions. I also really hate that one, because there's a couple questions I have on it. One, if an item gets returned, you don't automatically get your fees back, but you can request to cancel the transaction, and if the buyer does nothing for a week, or if they agree to cancel the transaction, then you get your fees back. So whenever I have a return, I always request to cancel the transaction so I get my fees back. Now, every time I do that, is that going to count against me? And if a return was initiated and I got a defect for that, it did say somewhere that you can only get one defect per transaction, so maybe that doesn't matter. The other thing is, I'm sure you guys get the same thing that I do, that sometimes someone buys an item and maybe it's an auction or it's an item that you don't request immediate payment for, but someone will want to they don't want to pay for the item. They either say, their kid bought the item, or they don't have the money, or I had someone say that they had a family emergency and couldn't pay for the item, and the item was $4.99 in free shipping or something like that. I'm thinking, really? You bought an item and a family emergency means you don't have $5 to pay for something you bought? Anyways, so they ask you to cancel the transactions all the time, and I typically will do that just because it's easier than fighting them over it. But now in this case, it counts as a defect on my account, so am I going to have to deny people that and just tell them that it needs to go through the unpaid item assistant, which is what I would prefer anyways, but you just, trying to make people happy and whatever, so that kind of sucks. Starting with the August 20th evaluation to meet eBay's minimum standard, sellers can have up to a maximum of 5% of transactions with one or more transaction defects over the most recent, blah, blah, blah. A maximum of 2%, which that's the important number for most of us, will be allowed for eBay top-rated sellers. 2%, I mean, I guess that's a high enough number that it's, under the current system, none of my DSRs get up to 2%. So if we're basing it on that type of metric, then the 2% isn't too bad. But with all these other things added in, it's hard to get a feel for what, for instance, my defect rate would be when adding in returns, especially returns on damn things just because it doesn't fit. There's nothing wrong with no stain, no hole, no nothing. Just, well, this doesn't fit, so I'm going to return it, and now that counts as a defect for me, and that sucks. So how that stuff affects, it's hard to tell. We'll have to wait and see. The defect rate won't affect your status until you have transactions with defects with at least 8 different buyers, 5 buyers for top-rated sellers. So I guess after that, I would assume once you get to the 5th, then they're going to retroactively add in the other 5. So you're going to go from having 4 different buyers, which will count 0 on your account, to getting to the 5th, and once you get to the 5th, now you'll have 5. So hopefully that 5th one doesn't bump you over the 2%. Just as today's sellers can have a maximum of 0.3% money back guarantee, blah, 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 without the resolution, blah, blah, blah. That means the buyer opened the case, you weren't able to resolve it, the buyer reached out, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Just as today's sellers with, okay, this is another thing with the high volume seller, is if you have 400 or more sales within a 3-month period, you will only be based on those 3 months and not the full 12-month scale. But one thing to remember is, let's say I have 500 transactions at this 3-month period, and then next month I go down to 300 transactions, so I fell below that 400 scale. They're going to be retroactive with that 12 months. It's not going to like start anew or just go, for 4 months now because you're 1 month late or 1 month short. So you may be top rated seller because of your high volume, and then go below that high volume mark, and all of a sudden you're not a top rated seller because the metrics are based on 12 months instead of 3 again. Just something to keep an eye on. Buyers won't see your defect rate, which really doesn't matter anyways. Top rated seller updates, reward services buyers want most. Starting with the August 20th evaluation, the new 2% maximum defect top-rated sellers will apply. This will replace the current 4-star DSR requirement, but you're including 2 of the DSRs, you idiots. This extra margin plus the fact that the defect rate will not affect your top-rated seller status until you have transactions with 5 different buyers will help you stabilize your well-earned status. Whatever. Current 98% feedback will no longer apply. I don't know how many people get below 98% feedback. If I get any more problem buyers I could get there. Real quick story is I had a buyer who bought an item, received the item, and I didn't hear anything from him. And then he bought a second item, and he bought that item on Friday night, and I didn't. By Monday morning at 6 a.m., he had sent me 3 emails wanting his tracking number for his item, and he'd bought it on Friday night. So when I got home from my trip, I uploaded a tracking number for his item, and I shipped it off on Monday. After the acceptance scan, after it was already in the mail, he gave me a negative feedback on the first item saying that it was ripped. And today, this morning, he sent me a message, or he opened a item not received case on eBay for the second item, even though I mailed it on Monday and it's only Wednesday, so obviously he probably does not have it yet. I have 7 days to respond, so I'm going to use up all those 7 days, wait for the tracking number to show delivered, and then respond to the case, but I'm sure I'm going to end up getting 2 negative feedbacks from this buyer. And if you look at his feedback he's left for others, he has left a lot of negative feedback for people for similar reasons. And the thing is he's also a seller. He has only about 5 or 6 items, and it's against eBay policy for me to then buy his items just so I can open up a case against him and leave him negative feedback and request a return. It's probably against eBay policy for me to encourage anyone else to do so, but I wouldn't be offended if anyone wanted to go buy his items just to return them, because this jackass really pissed me off. Anyways, the extended holiday return policy is another thing that kind of sucks, but I don't think it will have too big of an effect. Amazon already does this. I know they did it this year. I don't know if they did it last year because I wasn't selling on Amazon last year, but people have until January 31st to initiate a return of an item that's bought during the holiday season. And I don't know, most people don't even know the dang return policies or pay attention to them right now anyways. I mean, with the buyer protection policy, they have over a month anyways if they wanted to return an item, so it's not a huge deal. I guess it depends how much eBay will advertise for it, how much they'll plaster it all over listing pages, but most things are a gift, and people, most of the time won't complain about a gift to somebody. Maybe they just don't use it, or they give it to somebody else, or whatever. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I do want to see if eBay will automatically apply this return policy to sellers, and it'll be your obligation to opt out of it if you don't want to be into it. Or we're going to have to pay attention when December 31st comes around and change our return policy on all of our listings so that we still qualify for the discount and the top rated seller stuff. So new safeguards for your status and your rewards. It's all a bunch of crap, so we don't even need to read that. These seller updates, really, they're such garbage, and I think they make things worse and more complicated, and it's rare for eBay to do something that I think makes the site better, but that's just me. So anyways, guys, that is the seller update. That is my opinion on what I figure is the most important part. There are a few other nuances to it, but whatever, who cares? So make sure to give the video a like. Remember, you're liking the video, not the eBay update, because that would probably be nothing but thumbs downs. Leave me a comment. What do you guys think? If you have any different opinion, or if there's any other thing that struck you about the update. And if you're not already a subscriber but like eBay, or like selling on eBay, or make money on eBay, make sure to subscribe because we'll have more eBay videos. Thanks, guys.